welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some of our homeschool favorites from 2024. So if you enjoy this type of content and other homeschool and lifestyle content, please remember to subscribe and let's get into it. All right, so I went through and made a list of some of our favorite things from last year. There's a few curriculum related things, a few games, a few, I guess, like supplies or tools that I like to use, I guess. I don't know what exactly you call them. That I just made a list of all the things. Some of it's just kind of random, but I am a person that, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm just not passionate enough about stuff, or I just am like, oh, I could use something different. So I don't necessarily always have favorites, because I'm like, there's always something else that I could use that I could make work. And so sometimes it's hard for me to really pinpoint like, oh, I absolutely loved this and this is gonna make it on the list. And so I just went through and picked some things that I probably used the most or something that I liked that maybe was new. And that's what I'm gonna share with you today. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to mention is a few kitchen related subscription boxes for kids, like baking and cooking in the kitchen. And so if you've been around here, you know that my daughter, who is 11 and a half, is doing a family and consumer science education sort of elective for the charter that we're part of as our homeschool. And so she has been doing that, and they will pay for the subscription boxes. And she also took a cooking class last fall and they paid for that as well. And so I just wanted to share the ones with you that I've been liking. So KiwiCo used to have a kitchen box, the Yummy Crate, but I think we ordered it and then they got rid of it. So we had it for like 3 months, and then they switched to like all their clubs and stuff now that they do. And they don't have it anymore. But for the time that we did it, I did enjoy it. I liked how it was themed around like making a sauce or something like that, or like emulsions and things. So there was always some sort of more scientific-y type of a theme to it, and then telling you the why behind it. The other ones that we're a part of now are Little Passports, trying to cover up my address right here. And then we have Radish Kids. And I like the combination of these two. So these are the two that we're getting right now. So Radish Kids has some different options. We've only ever done the baking one. So we were getting Little Passports first, and when I saw that KiwiCo the Yummy Crate wasn't going to be available anymore, I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can find something else that's maybe more baking. Because Little Passports, if you're familiar with the company, they do a geography type of curriculum. And so it's an international thing. Like when they send this kit, they're sometimes to places in the United States, but they're a lot of times to places throughout the world. And so like we've had India, I think we had Chile, I think she has Greece right now, and she might have had someplace in France. So there are a variety of different things, and they give you a few food options, and then usually some sort of dessert, not always. And she was really liking that. She is kind of a picky eater. She really is a picky eater. And so we're trying to expose her to different things. And she really wanted to do more baking. And so I was trying to find something that was a baking option. And Radish Kids has their cooking option, which gives you meals and baking type things. They also have their baking one. And then I think I paid extra for the book holder, the recipe book. So the recipes come in the boxes every month, and then I got this so she'd have some place to put her recipes. But this one has all these baking things, and so far they've been themed. So like for October, they were like mummy cupcakes. For Thanksgiving, she had cranberry crumb bars, a pumpkin pie, and then Christmas, she just made this Christmas tree the other day. It was a little late, but we had so many treats at Christmas. And then she still has to do the chocolate snowball cookies. And then she just got these ones. So this one was more of, I think, French pastry type theme. Probably because January doesn't really have a specific like holiday or anything to go with it. So we'll see with February, maybe it'll be Valentine's. So these are both like French desserts, eclairs and stuff. And so we've really enjoyed the combination of both, and we haven't been able to get through all the recipes. We kind of picked the favorite ones and she goes with that, but it has been something that has been really fun. It's hard for me to say, go get these these crates or subscriptions, because I don't know if I'd buy them if we just had to buy them using our own money. Maybe we'd buy one of them. It's been nice to have the resources to try a few different ones, but I think I would probably go with the radish crates one. I don't know, it's hard. It depends on your purpose, right? So radish crates is more just the recipes. Little passports is a little bit more of a like cultural experience. And so if you're going for that and want some more like food options and not just baking or dessert options, that's the one I would pick. And so it depends on what your purpose is, what you're going for, but they don't come with food, right? There's not all the things that you'd get in some of the other crates in them because they are a kitchen type crate. And so you have to go buy the food and things, but there are some fun recipes and I don't have to go search for them. It just comes and she gets excited about it. It usually comes with like a new kitchen tool or gadget she can try out. And so it's been fun for her and she gets excited about it. The next thing I wanted to mention was just a few favorites more curriculum wise. And so I'm gonna use my cheat sheet down here to make sure I remember everything. But the first one is our state reports. And I've talked about this so much, but we did state reports this last semester for the first time and my kids really, really loved it. They kind of just took it and ran and wanted to look up all the things, made little presentations either with paper or with clay or on the computer. And they had so much fun doing it. And so we're gonna try to keep doing something like that. I don't know if it'll always be around the states. We might use it, because right now we are doing the US geography, so we might also do some with history as we do like mini units. Maybe they could pick something from that and study about it and share it with us. You know, something to just get them speaking to us, having to prepare something and getting up in front of us and giving it to us. So there's that. And then something else I really enjoyed doing was our history mini units. They're not all necessarily history, because some of them are still like they're here. They're monuments more, or like this, the one we're doing right now is Everest, right? So there's a lot of historical things about Everest, but it's still a place now and people are still going to it. It's not an event that happened in the past. Sorry, I'm still trying to get over a cold, and so we're struggling over here. But I just wanted to point out these little mini units. So these are from the Waldock Way, and I really liked them. We don't always use the whole booklet. So there are some activities. There's a page you can color. I think there's a crossword or a word search. There's like timelines you could fill in and things. But my favorite part really has just been the first page, because it gives a list of books, and that's what we've been using most for like history, historical fiction. Some of them aren't fiction, some of them are more nonfiction. And so I'll go through the list and get some of those books, and then that's what we'll read and we'll talk about some of the stories. And this one even has some games. So it has Mount Cleverest and Dicey Picks board game. It has some videos you can watch. So I feel like just the first page alone of this is really just a great resource, and that's what I end up using the most, is that. But I've enjoyed the different books we've read. So we read about Pompeii, we read more about the Titanic, which I already have studied a lot about the Titanic, and so that was a fun one to share that with my kids. And then I feel weird always saying fun when it's like a really tragic thing from history. I'm not like making light of it, but being able to talk to them about it and share it with them was a good experience. And then we also have this Mount Everest one we're doing. I have other ones depending on what we get to. And then another part of like historical fiction that we enjoyed was reading about Ernest Shackleton. So I don't have the book down here. It's up where my baby is sleeping, and so I did not get it. But it's the heroes of history, I think, is that. There's the Christian heroes then and now, but there's the heroes of history books as well. And that one was just so fun to read with them. I had already read it before, and going through it with them was great. And then we watched the documentary, and it was just so fun to do that and to learn about an event in history and to just have them be more aware of it. And now we can discuss it more. So I've really enjoyed those parts of our curriculum as well. And then the last part I think that I wanted to mention curriculum wise was just a read aloud that we really enjoyed this year. besides the ones I've already mentioned, because we did like all those. I feel like the historical fiction books about the different events in history, reading about Ernest Shackleton, all those things were super fun. But we really liked, I loved, and my kids really liked reading the Giver Quartet, which we read at the beginning of 2024. I don't even remember if we might have started some of it in 2023, but it was just so fun. I did not know there was 4 books. I thought there was just one. And so after we read The Giver, we went through the other 3 books, and it was just, all my kids were just like, wait, you gotta keep reading. It was just very exciting and a good story. I had a lot of good discussion things that we could talk about. And I just really, really enjoyed it. The next thing I want to mention is a few supplies that I've been enjoying, and then something that I got for my kids towards the end of the year that they really enjoyed. And I've mentioned these pens before. They're I don't know if it's Tool pens, T-U-L, and I really, really like them. I've tried a lot of pens. I like fine tipped pens. And so these ones, I got a new set recently towards the end of the year that had a variety of colors, which is another thing that's fun, because then you can have different colors for either if you're journaling or for just writing in your planner for different things going on. And so these ones are a little bit, the tip I think is 0.7, I can't remember. I had the finest tip ones before, but I saw these and was like, oh, there's more colors, and didn't pay attention to the size. And so got them, and I was like, oh, these ones are a little bit bigger, but I still like them. I just like how they write. They're just so smooth in how they write. And then I really do love the super fine tipped ones that they sell. There's not as many colors, but there's still a lot of colors. And so those ones are really good too. And I like to just be able to write super fine. I've always really liked super fine pens. I know some people aren't about that, so these ones say medium on them. And so I think the other ones I had must have said fine on them, but I know not everybody loves that, but I just love a really good, super fine like pen that I could write super teeny. Another thing that I was thinking about that I don't like consciously like notice very often, but we use these like magnet bookmarks a lot. I actually need to get more that look like this. These ones they're all from Amazon. And I use them to mark our curriculum. The reason I thought about it is because I have several books right now that I'm like, oh, I need a bookmark. And I just don't have one. So I have lots of these little ones. These are probably harder to see. These ones are just teeny. And these ones are good too. I just feel like I notice these ones better because they're just a little bit bigger. So it's easier for me to drop them. It's easier for me to find my spot in the book, but I also have lots of these ones, and my kids use them, not all of my kids, but some of my kids use them to mark where they are in their math book, in their language arts books, and things like that, just so they can find their spot quicker. And I've used them to mark where I am in the answer keys for their books, so that I can find the answer, like where we are with the answer keys as well. So something I thought I'd mention because I really enjoy them. It's so much, I used to use Post-it, like the sticky Post-it note tabs all the time, which those work as well, but they start to fall out, they're not reusable and things like that. So I do like how these magnets are reusable. The last like supply type item is more for my kids. I could use it too, but they're the ones that have been using it. So towards the end of the year, I got this huge set of alcohol markers, and we already had, my oldest son got some for Christmas last year, but it was a smaller set because these are pricey. They can get very pricey. Again, our charter pays for them. And so that's why I was more willing to like actually get them. But they have so many colors in here. Like, it's so pretty when you open it. I don't know if I can show you this without, can you see that? Without dumping it everywhere. But the fun part about it was towards the end of the year, I got these posters. So they have tons of them on Amazon. I don't know, tons. I'm sure you can find tons. But this one they didn't use. We went through another Christmas one. It's a huge poster, and so it lays out on the floor. And I need to get like a winter one because it's actually a really good activity for like quiet time after lunch when they're trying to figure out what to do. They all can just lay out the poster on the floor and just sit and talk and color, or it can just be quiet and they can color. And it was really nice, actually, just an activity for them to do. So that was something that was a favorite then, and I need to go on Amazon and look at their other posters and get some for winter, maybe Valentine's, and see what other options they have so that I can give my kids something to do, my older kids, when the little kids are sleeping or whatever. It just keeps them quiet and occupied and their hands busy so they're not like punching each other. One of the favorites I wanted to mention is kind of silly. You might laugh, but it's actually like my husband. He was one of my favorite my homeschool favorites, whatever, for 2024. Just because he has always helped a lot with homeschool, but he helped more, I think, this last year. It was just, again, the stages of my kids and where we're at with homeschool is just kind of chaotic and hard. And some of my older kids still need help with some things, or they need to be supervised, but it's hard for me when we're having to do stuff with the littler kids. And so he has a flexible job that allows him to do that, and I'm very grateful for that. And so he came in and just helps so much more. He's not really sitting here while we're doing group work. That's kind of his time to try to get some work done. But in the mornings when I'm trying to have some moments to myself to work out and shower, get ready, whatever, he will usually start doing some of their individual subjects with them. So there's not as much for me to do later. And so that has been a great blessing to me and has been very, very helpful. And that's why he's my favorite for a lot of reasons, but that's why he's my homeschool favorite this last year. The last thing I want to mention was just a few games. We didn't have anything that I feel like we just played a ton last year. I don't know, I always am like, we should play more games, but then I just don't want to, or my kids just fight and I want to get some other things done so we don't end up playing games, or I don't know, there's all the like little things about it that's a struggle for me. And I grew up playing more card games than board games, so I actually like playing card games more most of the time. There's a few board games that I enjoy, like Ticket to Ride or Settlers of Catan, those types of things that I don't mind playing. But just a deck of cards is something my kids actually really enjoy playing with. And we haven't played as many games together with a deck of cards, but they will just sit down and deal themselves out some solitaire. They'll do, I don't know all the games, what they're called like really, but there's Free Cell. They do the ones with the pyramid, you know, where they have to all equal 13 or whatever and stuff. So they have all these different games that they will set out and play just with a deck of cards. Very simple. Just give them a deck of cards. So that was probably a favorite. And then a few other games, I asked them a couple of these just because I was curious, even though, because they play some games when I am not like doing stuff with them. So one of them is periodic. I don't even know if they always play this game correctly, but this was one they brought up because it's the elements, you know, kind of chemistry based. And so I have some kids that really like that. And so there's that one. And then since we're doing US geography, and usually on Thursdays, we'll play a geography game instead of doing bookwork geography. I have geography games that we played the most this last year. And so we have the geography trivia challenge. So this one's fun. And I feel like it's fairly adaptable to different ages if you're helping them play, right? You can read the questions and you can kind of help them understand. And then the other two are from the same company. One's for the United States, and then the other one is for the world. And so the way you play is similar in both games, but also just a little bit different because 50 states is a lot more manageable than the whole world. And so the game is slightly different, but my kids enjoy playing those. Those are the geography games that they play the most. And then I wanted to just shout out one thing for the little people out there, the little like toddlers and even like 18-month-olds, 1 to 3, I don't know. This game says 3+, it's not a game per se. It's a learning resource, right? It's from Learning Resources. And my two littles, so I have almost an 18-month-old girl and a 3-year-old boy, don't necessarily play this game the way you could, you know. There's a lot of options. So they are playing it the way they could. But with numbers, they don't do that yet because they don't know their numbers yet. But they can sort them, right? Can sort them by color or by the type of vegetable they are, and put them in the little baskets and stuff. So this is something, I pulled it out because they were actually playing with it today. But out of the different things that I have for my toddler to play with, this is the thing that he pulls out a lot. And so I thought I would just share, if you're looking for a type of game, we've had this for years, since my 8-year-old was a toddler. And it's still going strong. And they still love it. So even my big kids will come and sit and play with my little kids with it, because they, I don't know, they like to sort things or put them in order. And as they get older and can do some of the more math related stuff, you could even have the big kids help with it. So I just thought I'd mention it because I noticed that my little kids were playing with it more. And if you're looking for a kind of game resource for younger kids, I feel like that's a good option. All right, so those were my favorites and my kids' favorites, a few of my kids' favorites for last year. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments maybe what some of your homeschool favorites were for 2024, or if you have some already this year. I know it's not very far into the year, but some things maybe you're already loving this year. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.